What's up, everybody? Glad to be bringing you a review from the Masterverse line of action figures. This is actually my first review I've done on Masters of the Universe. As you may or may not be aware from the shelf behind me, I am a huge Masters of the Universe fan. I have been. It was my first toy line that I collected, if you want to call it that. First line my parents bought me, and I had all the figures. So, of course, when Origins came out, I was, head first into the deep end to get Origins. But now with Masterverse, which is kind of what I like to think of as the Marvel Legends equivalent or classified equivalent of He-Man, Masters of the Universe. So I found this figure at my local hobby store today. I had it on pre-order from Walmart.com, but never was getting fulfilled. I saw online some people were getting it. So, which figure am I talking about? Of course, I am talking about none other than He-Man himself. But this is New Eternia Battle Armor He-Man. Let's talk about it. So yeah, like I said, this is the Masterverse line of figures. The New Eternia wave is kind of a reimagining of the classic Masters of the Universe story with, a little bit more conceptualized representations of He-Man, Skeletor, etc., brought into figure form, kind of based off those early drawings. Of course, if you've already started collecting some of those, the initial He-Man and Skeletor from those waves were very reminiscent of early design drawings of the figures that ultimately weren't used. And, we got the figures in Masters of the Universe line back in 1982 as we know them today, but the New Eternia line's kind of using more of those concepts, those original drawings that the artists made that were ultimately not used. And now with the Masterverse line, they're able to explore that more. The figure sculptors, creators, artists are all able to kind of use that information from back in the early 80s and put a new spin on things. That's why we're calling it New Eternia. So with that, we have Battle Armor He-Man, the New Eternia version, and I'm excited for this guy. He looks really cool. The second I saw him, I was like, I like He-Man with a beard, so let's go with that. But enough of me talking. Let's open this figure and talk about it. All right, so here we go. This is the Masters of the Universe New Eternia Battle Armor He-Man from Mattel. Of course, comes in the window packaging that all Masters of the Universe figures, Masterverse figures come in. Masterverse at the top, 30 points of articulation, and of course the 40th anniversary this year of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And then the New Eternia logo, Battle Armor He-Man. And if we spin it around to its side, of course, we got some gorgeous artwork of Battle Armor He-Man. Very different look than what you think of when you think Battle Armor He-Man. And of course, on the back, another great design. But of course, we have Origins designs inspired by classic concepts. Battle Armor He-Man, most powerful armor in the universe. Donning his powerful armor, General Adam sailed farther than any ship in the Eternios Armada in search of the mythical Isle of Grayskull and the legendary power sword. Upon finding the sword, he says, I have the power, and transforms into He-Man, the most powerful man of the universe. And of course, we know that story, and we have some really cool artwork down here, some demons, some skeleton warriors, and of course we have the cross cell, where of course we see Sunman, Hero, and Jitsu. The only other figure that I'm thinking about, the only other figure I've seen out was Hero, and I'm not a huge Hero fan, so it's not something I'm going to pick up. Maybe if I ever find it somewhere on the discount, I might pick it up, but I'm definitely interested in Sunman and Jitsu. But I have not seen them in any store. I've not seen them in Walmart, so I think they're a Walmart exclusive. No, these aren't a Walmart exclusive line. I take that back. I pre-ordered them from Walmart and then pre-ordered He-Man, later canceled him because I found him at my hobby store. So I'm going to continue just to search my hobby store and hope that it comes out. I know Jitsu is on Amazon every once in a while. So yeah, that artwork is amazing. But then we got the other side. Of course, it says Battle Armor He-Man, most powerful armor in the universe. But let's get this guy out of the package and see what it is all about. Okay, he is free of his plastic prison. And one of the things, small gripe, probably just me, I do not like having to cut my figures out of these little things. I don't know what the requirement is. Hasbro with classified does not use those. But on the flip side, they're now using the windowless packaging, so all the figures are actually, tied up with paper ties. So, which I don't like those either. But if you can just put a figure in a package without using any sort of tie down, that's the way to go. It's too time consuming, in my opinion, to take those clip each one of those things out. But anyway, small gripe compared to what I got when I got it out of the packaging. This figure is huge. This is a sturdy He-Man. This guy, he's been eating his Wheaties. Solid figure. It is. First thing you're going to notice is obviously the head sculpt. This is a He-Man with a beard. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I like my He-Man with a beard. Also got a cool little scar down his eye. And, of course, he's wearing the battle armor. Still wearing the classic loincloth. Has this bracer on his arm. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Larger on this side than the classic styled one over here. And then, of course, this armor on his chest. And the armor skirt going around the loincloth. Boot knife, or a sheath with a boot knife. And yeah, he's a hefty little figure. He's got this pauldron on his arm. And I noticed, the pauldron is removable. Should you feel the need to take it off, it is just a snap right there. You can try to get the focus there. And of course, you can take that off. And He-Man himself, like the box said, 30 points of articulation. I'm not going to go through all the articulation. The skirt is going to limit him a little bit, but nothing major. Your He-Man is probably going to be like my He-Man. Is going to be standing there with the power sword in the air anyway, right? But as far as accessories, of course, we come with some alternate hands. He's wearing the gripping hands, but we also come with a right fist and a left open hand. So that's pretty typical. I actually think that's what came with the other new Eternia He-Man. And then, of course, the battle axe, which I love. My He-Man will always have a battle axe with him. Of course, He-Man is going to have his power sword, which is the same power sword that came with the first iteration of the Masterverse new Eternia He-Man. I love this I love this sword, by the way. I like the wrap tilt. And then, of course, if we're battle armor He-Man, we have to have some battle damage. And I'll show how that goes on here just in a minute. And then finally is this very nice, very interesting shield. I love the design on it. And at first I was like, well, that's weird. It's just maybe I thought maybe it had a ring that it plugged into and then you slid it over his arm. But like I mentioned on this bracer, it actually just plugs in. So it's kind of cool. You just plug it in, plug it in, plug it in. And then boom, He-Man is ready to go. He has got that thing on his arm, ready to block and swing, as they say. So yeah, this is a great figure for, I think retails 20, 25 bucks, something like that. And yeah, it's, I guess I should take the knife out to make sure it actually comes out of that sheath. I'm sure it does with very little. Yeah, there we go. Just a little tiny knife, a little tiny dagger, but still nice. I believe that is also on the Masterverse He-Man. So you might notice there's a couple little snips up here, not snips, clips, that the armor can actually be opened up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I have not opened this before, but I do know it opens. There you go. So there is how you access the armor to take out the plate, which should just clip right off. Yep. That's kind of a neat little design. That's a little neat extra thing. So on top of that, we can add the damaged armor back. It's got two little clips. Just go right back in and then snap this right back on top. Very easy. Easier than what I'm making it look, because I'm trying to do it by looking through the camera and not actually looking at the figure. So yeah, there you've got your battle damaged battle armor. And of course, if you want to put his battle axe in his hand, which, like I said, my He-Man always swung the axe around more than the power sword. And, I mean, this He-Man's ready to rock and roll. So, yeah, and I believe he has a spot on the back, so you can actually, you could actually take that shield if you didn't want him to hold it. Oh, pauldron fell down. If you didn't want him to hold the shield, you could just snap it into his back. We'll see how that looks. That's cool. I can live with that. So there you go. You've got your battle armor He-Man, new Eternia style. And give me just a second and we'll do some quick comparisons. Okay, so I decided to pull out the new Eternia He-Man, as well as Masters of the Universe Origins Battle Armor He-Man. This is the standard release version, not the chromed out one that came with Battle Damage Battle Cat. But yeah, as you can see, we'll start comparing the two on the left and center. New Eternia He-Man is pretty much the same exact body that you were finding in Battle Armor He-Man, with the exception of the different bracer, less paint apps on the boot, and the orange versus the gold. And of course, he's got two golden pauldrons, and he's got just the single larger one. But otherwise, actually, you know what's interesting? Oh, nope, I lied. I thought this hand was different than this hand, but they are actually the same. And then this fisted hand is the same as this fisted hand. So otherwise, I mean, and of course there's a different head sculpt. Now you could mix and match these guys if you didn't want your new Eternia Battle Armor He-Man to be this He-Man. I'm not going to do it on screen, but I'm sure since it's the same upper buck that it's probably got the same ball joint on it. And then you could just swap out the heads as you see fit. Now, of course, if we go over to the right side, though, now talking about the Origins figure versus a Masterverse, you can clearly see that this is a more detailed line than the Origins version, but, you know, that comes at a higher price point, right? I mean, you can go in and get a Origins figure today for $15 to $20, and these guys are going to be $25 upward. But man, I tell you, it looks fantastic. I love seeing these designs from the creators, the artists, the sculptors, etc. from Mattel that get to, you know, stretch their imagination a little bit and come up with these new ideas. I think it's really cool. But what about you guys? This is my first review over Masters of the Universe. So is Battle Armor He-Man on your list? Are you a Masterverse collector? If you are, is it worth picking up this version, or are you just sticking with one He-Man and this is your guy over here on the left? Or do you say whoosh to those guys and go with something a little more vintage style in this guy? Either way, whichever way you go, I'm sure it's best for you and your collection. For me, it's like Pokemon. Got to have them all. Got to get them all. And yeah, I think this is a solid figure. If you see it, pick it up. And if you like this review and you made it this far, I'd really appreciate you giving the good old like button a push for the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. I thank all my subscribers so far. It's been really fun doing this, and I hope to bring you more Masterverse and more He-Man figures here in the near future. So once again, smash that like button, and I will talk to you guys later.